Yeah, we did discuss that one. Okay.
So that was an incorrect statement.
Okay, so does council have any other comments on the ordinance?
Yes. Storage or lot fees are not in the current ordinance. I looked for it, couldn't find it, and Letha's looking, and she can't find it.
I didn't see it.
You saw it?
No, I said I didn't. Andy didn't see it either.
So the statement that lot fees are currently in the ordinance are
What are we saying is a lot fee? To do what?
To go in. For the owner of the vehicle or
to remove.
go in.
No, hold on.
Flat fee for towing.
Well, instead of doing that here, can you take a look at that
Yeah.
as well?
Yes.
But as it stands right now, none of us see the lot fee.
So what Mr. Gonzalez was speaking of was the concept that when the owner comes back after a tow, he gets to get his stuff out of the car without paying a fee, other than the towing fee plus whatever else. But I'll look.
Okay, thank you. The bill list. Jack, you requested to pull
You pulled the EMS bill.
on page 3.
Yeah, I thought we were done with paying for that.
No, I think what I had explained before is that matters in the New Jersey Appellate Division. We have there was an appeal of the trial court's decision over the last 3 months. We have filed a brief and reply brief in the Appellate Division, which is what the billing is that you're seeing.
Okay.
But the matter is fully briefed. We have submitted all required briefings, and now it's just a question of waiting for the court to schedule oral argument.
Okay. So this should be the last expenditure for EMS litigation?
Not ever, no, because we're still going to have argument in the Appellate Division. So we'd have to prepare and attend argument in the Appellate.
So maybe two bills.
That would be anywhere from 6 months to a year from now. The Appellate Division takes a long time.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
It's just, we had talked and I had, there was a number thrown out and I thought we were rapidly approaching that maximum number.
Yep.
So that's why I pulled that to ask those questions.
That's where we are. But all the briefing's been done. All the lengthy work has been done. The only thing left is to reread, because it's going to be 6 months to a year from now, reread the briefs and attend oral argument in the Appellate Division.
Okay. All right, I don't have a problem with that. Make a motion to approve legal services for the litigation costs.
I second.
Amy?
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Jack, you also pulled on page 5, the fire department?
Yeah, I think we all know why I pulled that. I'll make a motion to approve the fire department.
I'll second.
Amy?
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Abstain.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Solicitor's report?
I have nothing for the public this evening.
Mayor and/or business administrator?
First, Jack, why'd you pull that? You said we all know. I don't know.
The fire? Because Ken's going to abstain from it.
Okay. I was just sitting here. I said, Dennis, why'd you pull it? I don't know. I thought maybe it was a problem with the bill.
There's a problem with all the bills.
No, yeah, well, unfortunately, that's the way life is, but you got to pay them. All right, thanks for clearing that up. I don't really have anything, but I did attend the senior citizen prom this evening, and what a fine job they did. I'll tell you, it's a phenomenal event, and they're just a phenomenal group in what they do in that organization. I also recently went to a Pemberton Got Talent show, and for the most part, there's a lot of really good talent there. Some of the events may have been questionable, but I guess that's a matter of taste. But the kids are phenomenal, and I was really disappointed that there wasn't more people there. There was just too many empty seats for events like that that our students here in the district, hold, and we just don't get people out. You're getting good talent, good entertainment at a cheap price, and you're supporting the kids. I encourage anyone to come out to these events and support these kids that work so hard. We did get notice from the county that they will be paving some roads this year. They came in with their list, and this year it looks like Pemberton will be seeing Trenton Road from Lakehurst Road, County Route 530 to Pemberton Boulevard, which is a very nice stretch of roadway. Arnie's Mount Road from North Pemberton Road up to 616, up to the Wawa. And then I believe they're listing the township and the borough from 530 to 669, and I'm thinking that's South Pemberton Road. I'm not positive what section that is, but that's what they had on their list. So we'll try and maybe get that on the web page so that folks can see not only what we're going to be paving this year, but what other projects will be here in the township. And that's all I have at this time.
If I may, just one item that I wanted to announce. I know the council, I've provided information to the council, but for the public, is the conclusion of one of the PBA litigation matters, and that was the lawsuit with the PBA's consent regarding the council's participation in the grievance process has been concluded. The Superior Court judge has ruled in favor of the township and entered summary judgment in favor of the township, and has specifically removed the council step in the PBA grievance process from the PBA contract.
Thank you. Council comment?
I have quite a few.
Jack, you can start.
And I'm going to apologize because I am going to take a lot of time. I also attended the prom tonight. That's where I got the little carnation from tonight, and it was a very nice event. I had a good time, and I was also very proud. My daughter graduated Pemberton High School in 2008, and she was one of the first folks that helped set up that senior prom. And to see what it has turned into made me really happy that she had a little bit of a role in that when it first started. I also noticed something that started just appeared about a day or two ago, so the township might not be aware of it. There's a pothole on Scrapetown Road right in front of the church, and it looks like a pretty healthy one that we might want to try to get addressed. And I've also got a lot of questions recently about Route 530, 38, going from the borough up to 206. And there's a lot of concern with those folks cutting down trees and buying up all the buildings and stuff like that. And there's a perception that that's all being done by the township. And it is county and the freeholders doing that. So they're doing a lot of work there. That has always been a very dangerous road, and I really cannot wait for that project to be completed. The other thing, as I've said, I'm retired, and I sometimes have time on my hands and just kind of goof around. One thing I've noticed in this town is we have street lights going through the town, and I've approached administration shortly after I got elected. There was some street lights out on Trenton that were out, and then a month or two later, adjoining lights to the ones that were out, and I contacted administration again, and they got repaired, and they were all working. Well, this week I was, driving around town, and there by Trenton, starting at about 7-Eleven, going all the way down to the corner where the church is, and then going up Broadway, I think it is there, towards CVS. All those lights are out. I personally think it's a bad reflection when we have all these street lights being out and nobody's reporting them, or they're not being repaired. I'm kind of surprised that some of our public safety folks aren't reporting them when they're out and about in the streets to get them repaired, and I hope somebody can look at that and get it taken care of. The other thing is I've been driving around, and I noticed going out towards Presidential Lakes. I believe it's Oregon and Upper Mill. I don't know how many times I've been out there at night and missed the turn because there's no lights out there. And I think that might be something we might want to look at to get some kind of street light out there. It does seem like it's very dark out in the woods. Go figure. But I think it would be a benefit to the residents out there to look at that and possibly put a street light out there. I've also been approached by some of the residents out in PL, and I'm gonna assume if it's happening in one or two places, it might be happening in multiple places. But I'm kind of wondering why we have residents paying for street lights, and what we could do to resolve that so that residents aren't paying for their own street lights. Now, I'm not talking about the street lights that's affixed to their house or their garage or whatever. This is a light that's affixed to a telephone pole. And there's a few of them. I know of at least 3 where the residents are paying a monthly fee to have a street light. And I guess they've approached the township, and the township has said that that's not their responsibility, and I don't necessarily agree with that. And is there a way we can get that resolved through the township? Have the owners of these lights contact you folks, or maybe put something on the website saying that we would be interested in taking ownership?
Well, Jack, I have no clue of anybody paying. I'm not saying they don't, but that's the first I've heard of anybody paying for a street light. We have a process in which a resident may request a street light, and it is on our webpage, and they can request a light. We do a evaluation as to whether or not it meets the standards, and if it does, we'll put a street light in. But obviously, everyone, or most people, would want a street light out by their house, and there's no question that we just cannot put street lights everywhere in the township. We're spending, I want to say, somewhere in the area of $300,000 now, in the budget. But we can quadruple that if we just gave everyone a street light.
Well, I'm not saying I'm saying if they're existing already and the township residents are paying taxes, then we should be taking ownership of some of these lights if they're paying the bill.
Again, just because someone put one in, it doesn't mean that it meets the standards that we would put one in if they requested one.
The 3 I saw meet.
And they may. And again, that's the first I've heard of anyone putting a street light in. I didn't even know you could put a street light in yourself.
That was my question.
Didn't know you were allowed to do that, so it's interesting.
But yeah, the 3 I saw looked like all the rest of the street lights out there. So I kind of was really surprised.
Yeah, if we can get the information as to where it's at, we can then evaluate whether they should have township street lights there.
Okay.
How did they come about being there?
Beats me. You know how things.
Maybe that was something they requested to have the
3 of them
company
now?
put there. Well, you said it's 3 different individuals.
But they're all in the same street, same row. I mean,
They would have had to request them because we wouldn't have put them in and they get charged, and Jersey Central wouldn't have put it in and just charged them. They would have had to request it.
Somebody requested somewhere along the line.
Sure.
And
And I'm
you know, my
sure
thought is, though,
the
if they're
homeowner-
there and they're doing the thing for the community, then the community should be paying for them. Like I said, it's not something that's attached to the building. It's attached to a telephone pole with the arm hanging out. The next two things I'm a little aren't so easy, and I don't know how to address them. And usually when I'm like that, I attack it head on. I'm really disappointed in the council. I come in here last council meeting. I drafted up an ordinance with the hopes of doing something to get the police locker room open. And I see it's not on the agenda or not even discussed tonight.
It said it was illegal, right?
Yes.
And your response.
And he said he thought it was illegal and he was going to do a brief on it. And I also replied that I thought he was kind of biased, and my thought of him being biased
Well,
is with current litigation.
Say, you know what the answer is? Well, it is, and I didn't put it in writing, and that was my fault, and I apologize. But I will say that the court's decision in the PBA litigation is also along the same lines and makes the same point that you were trying to raise. There, the court said the council didn't have agreed with administration's position that as a matter of law, under the Faulkner Act, council didn't have the authority to participate in the employment grievance process. And the question is why? Because the Faulkner Act gives the mayor and or his designees the authority over employees, over municipal property in the town, in period. So to the extent that you're providing a requirement that a certain piece of municipal property needs to be made available to employees so that they can use it, you're regulating employment and you're regulating municipal property, and that would directly contravene the Faulkner Act. I could put that all in writing, but that's it's not even a close call. I'm just telling you, it's not even close. Legally, it's not close. I'm not going to talk about the policy and whether I agree or disagree, because that's not really that's not for me to say right now. My only point is that I think that you would be, the council would not have the power to, that law would be
Well, it's not power, it's authority.
Well, okay. That law, you could adopt an ordinance which says anything.
That's
right?
correct.
You could, but you can't adopt an ordinance which, I will say that as a matter of law, you can't adopt an ordinance which contravenes state law. That you have to do what municipal corporations can do within the confines of what the legislature allows municipal corporations to do. So that is why you could adopt it. You could, assuming you got a majority, you could vote and approve it. And putting aside whether the mayor would sign, even hypothetically, if the mayor signed it, which I'm sure he would veto it, but putting that aside, even if he signed it, it wouldn't be enforceable because it's illegal. So that is my opinion.
I understand your point there, Andy. I printed off the state statute that I used as a reference, so I didn't think it was illegal, or I would not have put it in front of you. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel
the statute that you provided, Jack, was the statute which was the
118.
The 118. That's not the statute. The statute, Faulkner, is 40:69A-31.
I would have liked to have had the discussion with the council, and it seems like as soon as I brought it up, you said it's illegal, and it died right there.
Well, I can't speak for what council says or doesn't.
But again, you're the township attorney. You're not the council attorney. And there's current
that
litigation
would
going on for that.
That would be false. I would be the attorney for the mayor and council, as well as the township. I would have all those responsibilities. That's why I'm sitting here during your meeting. So I would, if I gave you advice that says you should adopt a ordinance which contravenes state law, and then there was litigation over it, I think I would be in a bit of a difficult position with a number of people here saying, why are you counseling the council to adopt laws that aren't legal? So that's my honest advice. You could accept it or not accept it, but that's my honest advice.
Thank you.
So this council doesn't want to do anything with what I proposed.
Well, it sounds like we can't, Jack. We
Can't.
can't go against the law.
I wouldn't go against that.
And the next thing I have is harassment. I've had a couple folks come up to me over the past couple months. And the perception is if you come up here and you talk at the podium, and I have to honestly say I've said some things at the podium before I got elected, and I was always waiting for code enforcement to show up at my door, and they never did. But I have had some folks come up to me and say that they do feel like they have been harassed after they've come up and made public comments
By who?
from the governing body.
Oh, I wouldn't agree with that. I don't.
It's-
That's my opinion.
Jack, as a council member, and you're giving your council member comments, you could say whatever you want, but how do we? You keep saying a bunch of people came up and talked to you.
Okay.
How do we know that's even true? What council member has harassed somebody
No.
from
Not
the
a
public?
council member, I'm sorry. Folks within the government and the township. But I'll let that go, and it'll work out its way on its own, I'm sure.
Mr. Council President, if I may, I would suggest to the council, as I suggest to all of our employees, if there is ever any suggestion that someone is violating a law, criminal or ethical or harassment, that there is a process to deal with that, and that is that specific detailed information should be provided to administration, because we are required as a matter of policy and a matter of law to inquire as to any such things. Making general comments does not allow for any fact-finding in any situation. We need specific instances and we need specific names so that we can talk to them to find out what it is. Some people refer to harassment as normal course of business, and just like to draw attention to themselves. I'm talking about those that might suggest harassment. So if there's any allegations of harassment, if anybody's alleging that I have harassed them, please come forward. Give me the names. Let's do something about it.
Or
Okay.
if they're not comfortable with that, as one of our council members has already gone through, there's a state ethics board.
Or they could bring it to our municipal attorney if it involves the mayor and or me. And he has an obligation to deal with it as well. And if I may, as to the police locker rooms, I don't want the public to be under the misimpression. The police locker rooms, other than like a 3-week period when there was some construction going on, have always been open and available for use by our police officers. Thank you.
And that's for a 3-minute window, correct? For a 7-minute window?
You're confusing two things.
Well, if you want to know, I don't think you have the authority to make the rules and regulations for the police department
Just
either.
asked a question. It's a 7-minute window, is that correct?
That's correct. They're allowed to be at work for 7 minutes, because if they show up a half hour earlier and they stub their toe, they're going to file a workers' comp case.
But Dennis, you could use the law. I thought Jack was saying if the officer had an event and had to use the locker room, for instance, to clean up after something, they could be in there more than 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, we're
That's what I thought he was saying.
8 hours and 14 minutes.
no, during the course of their shifts,
Yeah.
if they need a half hour to clean up for something or an hour, absolutely.
I was meaning before and after a shift too,
Ah,
Andy.
got you. I thought you were saying they couldn't use the locker room for more than 7 minutes during the day.
No,
and
my
That's
focus
totally
was before and
not
after.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, we're currently litigating an issue that occurred before the start of shift that they claim they're entitled to compensation for. So we need to protect ourselves from future litigation and finish this current litigation. But I don't think we need to open doors and say, oh, well, we'll just let you pick and choose when you want to sue us. We have to protect the interests of the township residents here, and that's what we're doing. We're following the law. Fair Labor Standard Act says you do not come to work before 7 minutes, otherwise the employer may have to compensate you.
And that was the policy established under Administrator Voss. a number of years ago, before Administrator Gonzalez.
That was the policy established in 2009 and agreed to within the union contracts at that time by reference by the PBA.
Right.
Jack, do you have any other comments?
That's it. I think that's enough.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes. Good evening. Let me say this based off of Jack's comment. As elected officials on both sides, we do have to constantly remind ourselves what we can say, what we can't say, how we should act and not act. Whether we're here at a council meeting, whether we're at a community event, whether we're at the Board of Education, wherever we are, as elected officials, we are always going to be watched in a different or more scrutinized eye. So we definitely have to remember our positions. As far as people being harassed, I think that's already been established. There's guidelines that can be taken for those instances. Also, I wanted to say, I really don't mind people coming to the podium to ask questions. What I do mind is the disrespect that we have from residents coming up to the mic, yelling at us, accusing us, making accusations, assuming. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's proper. I think it's very disrespectful. I think if any of the council members up here took that tone with any resident, it would not be received very well. And I really don't think that is fair or appreciative. I don't like it at all. I think Council President gave a lot of leeway this evening for that, for that being taken place. No, not to come at him, but I think he was very fair in allowing people to talk. But in that instance, the way we were being spoken to tonight was very disrespectful. Also, I want to reiterate to our towing members, me saying no was nothing personal, okay? May 6th at Pemberton Township High School is the Pop of Culture. Like the mayor said, I also was at the Pemberton's Got Talent. They are having another event. It's more of on the lines of a fashion show kind of thing. It's in the evening, and I believe it's at 6:30. It's on a Friday. I think that is all that I have for this evening. I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening, and that's all I have, Council President.
Mr. Cardio?
I have none.
Ms. Trueblood?
I just want to say, everyone, thank you for coming out, and I attended the senior prom tonight. It was beautiful, elegance, beautiful. The students were amazing. They were just so full of joy there. Too bad we had to come back early to come back to the meeting, but it was really everything, the music. Last night, I wanted to give the fire volunteer company an awesome, we had a fire down at the end of my church. 2 sheds caught on fire. That was very hazardous area, and to see the reaction of the residents, thanking the fire department for being there for families that gathered out of the homes. And I walked down there. I knew some of the residents there. I know some of them, and everything was so well done that I'm really, we don't really say much, but I gotta say, I'm very proud of the fire department in Pemberton Township. So thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. I actually have no council comments this evening, but I would like to thank everyone for coming out, and I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Motion to adjourn.